In 1955, the President of the United States had a heart attack. The next day, his doctor stood in front of the entire nation and named the cause. Not stress, not smoking, not sugar, fat. Within a decade, that single press conference had changed what billions of people ate for the next 50 years. Governments rewrote dietary guidelines. Food companies stripped fat out of everything. Supermarket shelves filled with low-fat yogurt, fat-free cookies, and reduced-fat everything. And while all of this was happening, while the whole world was proudly eating less fat, obesity rates doubled. Heart disease kept climbing. Diabetes went through the roof. Something had gone very wrong. This is the story of the biggest lie in the history of nutrition. Who started it, who profited from it, and what the science actually says. To understand how we got here, you need to know one name. Ancel Keys, an American physiologist from the University of Minnesota. In the 1950s, Keys noticed something. American businessmen, well-fed, successful, the best-nourished people in the country, were dying of heart attacks at alarming rates. He wanted to know why. His theory was straightforward. Saturated fat raises cholesterol. Cholesterol clogs arteries. Clogged arteries cause heart attacks. Fat was the villain. To prove it, he published a famous graph showing 6 countries where fat consumption lined up with heart disease rates. It was clean. It was simple. It was convincing. There was just one problem. He had data from 22 countries. He only showed 6. The ones that fit his theory. France, for example, a country with one of the highest fat intakes in the world, had some of the lowest rates of heart disease. Keys left France out. West Germany had similar numbers, also left out. When other researchers plotted all 22 countries on the same graph, the clean correlation Keys had shown nearly disappeared. While Keys was building his case against fat, a British scientist named John Yudkin was building a case against something else entirely: sugar. Yudkin published research showing that sugar, not fat, was the primary driver of heart disease, obesity, and diabetes. He called his book Pure, White, and Deadly, published in 1972. Keys responded by doing everything in his power to destroy Yudkin. He publicly called Yudkin's work a mountain of nonsense. He attacked his methodology, his credibility, and his character. The scientific establishment followed his lead. Yudkin was dismissed. His work was buried. And then, in 2016, researchers at the University of California made a discovery that explained everything. They found internal documents from the Sugar Research Foundation, the lobbying arm of the sugar industry dating back to 1965. Those documents showed that the sugar industry had secretly paid scientists at Harvard to conduct a review of nutrition research. The review was designed to do one thing: pin the blame for heart disease on fat and clear sugar of any involvement. The study was published in the New England Journal of Medicine, one of the most prestigious medical journals in the world. The sugar industry's funding was never disclosed. The lead researcher later became the head of nutrition at the United States Department of Agriculture, the agency that writes America's dietary guidelines. This was not a mistake. This was a coordinated campaign, and it worked perfectly. By 1980, the U.S. government published its first official dietary guidelines. The message was clear: reduce fat, especially saturated fat. Eat more carbohydrates. Food companies had a problem. Food without fat tastes like cardboard. So they solved it the only way they could. They replaced the fat with sugar. Low-fat yogurt packed with added sugar. Fat-free salad dressing sweetened to compensate for the missing flavor. Reduced-fat cookies loaded with refined carbohydrates. The irony is almost impossible to believe. The industry that had paid scientists to blame fat for heart disease was now profiting from selling people sugar-loaded replacements for the fat they had been told to avoid. And the result was exactly what Yudkin had predicted decades earlier. Between 1980 and 2000, the height of the low-fat era American obesity rates went from 15% to 31%. Type 2 diabetes cases tripled. Heart disease did not decline the way the guidelines had promised. The low-fat diet had not made people healthier. It had made them sicker. So what does the research actually show today? Fat does not make you fat. Energy imbalance makes you fat, consuming more calories than you burn, regardless of whether those calories come from fat, carbohydrates, or protein. Healthy fats from olive oil, nuts, avocados, and fish are essential. They support brain function, hormone production, and the absorption of vitamins A, D, E, and K. Your body cannot function without them. The real distinction is not between fat and no fat. It is between types of fat. Trans fats, the artificial fats created through industrial processing, are genuinely harmful. Natural fats are not. A 2010 meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition reviewed data from 347,000 people and found no significant evidence that saturated fat is associated with increased risk of heart disease. A 2020 review in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology concluded that the low-fat dietary guidelines had no scientific foundation and may have contributed to the obesity epidemic. Yudkin, it turned out, had been right all along. The man whose career was destroyed by the sugar industry and by Ancel Keys was vindicated 50 years too late for most of the people who had followed the advice they were given. The low-fat lie is not ancient history. Its effects are still in every supermarket aisle, in dietary guidelines still being revised, and in the eating habits of hundreds of millions of people who were told something false and believed it because it came from doctors, governments, and scientists. The lesson is not that all science is corrupt or that you should ignore nutrition research entirely. The lesson is simpler than that. Ask who funded the study. Ask what they left out. Ask who benefits when you believe what you are being told. Because sometimes the most dangerous thing on the label is not the fat. It is the word low fat.